진짜 저희 뒤에
네.
정말 엄청 큰 따봉이 있습니다.
따봉.
엄지손가락이 있는데
네.
정말 좀 되게 거대한 작품 같아요.
이 작품은 세자르 발다치니가 청동으로 조각한 엄지손가락이라는 작품이에요.
네.
인체 특정 부위를 굉장히 크게 확대해가지고 조각하는 걸로 유명하신데요. 정말 프랑스에서 사랑받는 프랑스의 국보급 작가예요. 세자르상이라고 있는데요. 그게 프랑스의 아카데미상과 이렇게 비슷한 거예요. 근데 그 트로피를 제작하신 분이에요. 그만큼 프랑스에서 사랑을 받고 있는 작가라는 거죠. 예전에는 뭐 깎거나 붙이거나 그런 식으로 조각하는 게 이제 전통 조소였잖아요.
네.
근데 이분 같은 경우에는 이제 누보 레알리즘이라고 해서 약간 그 쇠 같은 거를 뭐 붙이거나 용접하거나 재조립하고 구축해서 오브제적인 조각 그런 걸로 해서 매우 이제 실험적인 조각을 하셨던 분이에요.
저는 어떤 걸 느꼈냐면요. 이걸
네.
보면서 우리나라의 서울올림픽이 시작됐을 때는 굉장히 번쩍번쩍 빛나면서 젊은 엄지손가락이었다면 지금은 조금 나이가 좀 든 어떤 세월을 한번 다녀간 그런 느낌.
맞아요.
근데 그런
이게
느낌이 드는 게 더 멋있는 것 같습니다.
청동이 오래되면
네.
저런 식의 컬러로 부식이 되면서
네.
또 그것만의 오묘한 그 색을 자아내죠. 근데 이 작품 같은 경우에는요, 위암 수술을 2번이나 받으면서도 이렇게 큰 대작을 완성하셨대요. 그러니까 더 대단해 보이지 않으세요?
그렇네요. 더 대단하네요. 진짜 따봉. 따봉.
올림픽 공원이 생긴 지 35년이 넘었잖아요.
네.
이게 그 시대에 조금 유행했던 작업들, 그리고 이게 올림픽을 하다 보니까 조금 희망적인 메시지를 주는 작업들, 그런 것들이 많이 있어요.
오. 야, 이것도 진짜 어마어마하네.
이 작품은 알제리 작가 모아 나마라가 이제 만든 대화라는 작품이에요.
대화요?
예. 1987년 50일간 한국에 머물면서 이 거대한 화강암을 깎아서 조각한 거죠. 여기에는 신화적인 스토리가 있어요. 이 쌍둥이가 있었는데 이 둘이 사이가 몹시 안 좋고 맨날 싸우고 대화도 안 하고 그렇게 지내자 신이 분노해서 이들의 눈을 빼앗았대요. 예.
너무 무서워요.
예. 그래서 너희는 평생 붙어서 대화를 해라. 그런 이야기가 있대요.
그러니까 이제 어떤 갈등과 그런 분쟁이 있을 때는
대화를 해라.
대화를 해라.
예. 올림픽 정신이 뭐예요? 올림픽을 통해서 서로 소통하고 세계 평화를 이루자
그렇죠.
하는 게 올림픽 정신 아니겠어요?
맞죠, 맞죠.
그래서 우리가 언어도 다르고 또 정치적 이념도 다르고 문화도 다르고 그 모든 것이 다 달라도 서로 소통하면서 대화하고 그렇게 살아라 하는 상징적인 의미의 조형물이에요.
이 올림픽 정신 그리고 올림픽 공원에 굉장히 잘 어울리는 그런 조각상이네요.
네.
사실 저는
네.
올림픽 공원하면 가장 먼저 떠오르는 이미지 그리고 조형물이 바로 이 뒤에 있는 이 평화의 문이 아닐까 싶거든요.
예.
저는 이 분을 딱 보면은 뭔가 좀 가슴이 좀 웅장해지는
네.
그런 기분이 들어요.
그쵸. 왠지 비상하고 상승하는 듯한 느낌.
네, 딱 이렇게 이런 느낌? 네.
이게 우리나라 1세대 건축가 김중업 선생님이 만드셨어요. 김중업 선생님 같은 경우에는 우리나라 전통 건축의 곡선을 이용해가지고 전통과 현대를 잘 어우러지게 해서 건축하시는 분으로 유명하죠.
아, 그렇구나. 아, 근데 오늘 지금 올림픽 공원에서 여러 가지 상징물도 보고 평화의 문도 보고 했는데
네.
오늘은 또 어떤 작가님을 만나게 될지 굉장히
네.
궁금하거든요.
우리가 많은 작품들을 봤잖아요.
네.
그래서 그 전반적인 조각에 대한 흐름을 좀 설명해 주실 작가님을 모실 거예요.
아. 안녕하십니까.
안녕하세요.
작가님.
네.
반갑습니다.
네, 반갑습니다.
환영합니다. 자, 일단 자기 소개를 좀 부탁드리겠습니다.
저는 조각가인데요. 공교롭게 여기가 88 올림픽 조각공원이잖아요. 그 해부터 작품을 발표를 해서 30여 년간 마치 이 조각공원의 역사하고 비슷한 동안 작품 활동을 해온 작가라고 보시면 됩니다.
성함도
박태동.
박태동 작가님.
야, 태동하셨다.
근데 제가 듣기로
네.
교수님이나 친분이 또 있으시다고 이렇게 들었거든요.
그렇죠. 동문이고
오.
우리 선생님이 제 좀 후배시죠.
조교하고
조교할
계셨을
때
거예요. 예.
입학을 했어요.
저는 이렇게 되게 이 교수님의 모습만 봐서 그런데
네.
예전에 학교 다닐 때는 어떤
학교 다닐 때는 보시다시피 이렇게
네.
아름다운 교수님이 1, 2학년 때는 귀여운 여학생이었겠죠.
작가님 같은 경우에는 지금 이 작품의 트렌드가 바뀌는 것들을 다 보셨을 거란 말이죠.
네.
그 흐름이 어떻게 트렌드가 이렇게 지나왔는지
네.
그거를 좀 요약해 주실 수 있으시겠어요?
88 올림픽 조각공원이라는 것은 꽤 희망찬 주제로 시작을 했죠. 그러니까 여기에 들어오는 작품도 우울하거나 그러지는 않았을 거예요. 그리고 여기를 한 바퀴 돌아보셔서 알겠지만 한 절반 이상은 뭔지 모르겠고 그럴 거예요.
예, 예.
그러나 사람이나 동물이나 식물의 형태를
네.
빌어서 온 거는 쉽죠.
네.
근데 이제 예술가들은 또 다른 걸 표현하고 싶어 해요. 그런데 아주 조금 공부를 하면은 그 공부? 관심을 갖고 알다 보면은 금방 그 언어들을 이해하게 될 거예요. 그리고 그 트렌드라는 것은 조각의 기법이나 기술이 변함에 따라서도 바뀔 수가 있고 그리고 시대 상황에 제일 민감하죠. 6.25 동란 이후에도 현대미술의 변화가 있었고 또 가까운 예로는 군사정권에 한거로 나온 표현들이 많이 있었어요. 그걸 보면은 이렇게 밝거나 명랑하지만은 않죠. 그러다가 우리나라가 잘 살게 됐잖아요. 이제 그 선진국으로 발달하면서 작품도 밝아지고 그 더 반짝거리고 요즘에는 많은 분들이 미술 교육을 받지 않은 많은 유명인들도 쉽게 그림을 그려요. 예전에는 못 그랬었거든요. 그리고 그 유명인들이 그리는 그림도 추상을 해요. 그러니까 쉬워진 거죠.
그림 자체가 그림 그리고 예술이 조금 쉬워졌다.
네.
추상은 좀 어렵잖아요. 그러면 조금 우리가 일반인들이 봤을 때 좀 요거를 좀 쉽게 좀 접할 수 있는 팁 같은 게 혹시 있을까요?
우선은
네.
그냥 추상을 바로 이해할 수 있는 방법은 나는 없다고 봐요. 그리고 그거를 그냥 보고 멋지다 뭐 이런 정도의 표현에서만 끝난다면 상관이 없고 그러니까 그거는 관심에 해당되는 거예요.
네네네.
그러니까는 추상 미술에 관심이 생기면
네네.
아주 조금 공부를 하는 게 좋아요. 책을 본다든지 요즘에는 뭐 그 인터넷 상에서도 자료가 많기 때문에
네,
보기가
네.
쉬워요. 혹은 도슨트라고 설명을 해주는 분들이 있죠.
네, 네.
그런 사람들한테 해주는 설명만 들어서는 거기서는 끄떡거리지만 돌아서서 몰라요.
그렇죠.
질문을 해야 돼요. 근데 경우에 따라서 이해 못해도 돼요. 어떤 작품을 봤더니 참 이쁜 빨강색인 거예요. 그러면 그거 하나만 감상해서 행복했으면 그분은 된 거죠. 그분이 뭐 조각을 해야 될 사람도 아니고
네.
그냥 그 작품을 다 이해해야 되는 거는 그건 또 다른 스트레스예요. 그러니까 여긴 참 빨갛군 하고 기분 좋게 나가면은 그것만 해도 행복한 거죠.
작가님 같은 경우에는 지금 20여 회 넘는 개인전과
네.
300회가 넘는 이렇게 뭐 단체전과 기획전들을 하셨어요. 굉장히 왕성하게 활동하시는데 요즘은 잼스톤 시리즈라는
네.
작업을 하시거든요.
네. 잼스톤 시리즈라는 것은 지금 한지 벌써 한 14, 15년 됐어요. 보석 그러면은 주얼이고
네.
원석을 잼스톤이라고 표현을 하는데
네.
사람들이 좀 더 쉽게 접근을 하고 아름답다라고 표현을 할 수 있는 것들.
네.
소중하고 귀한 것이라는 것. 근데 그걸 물질적인 부분으로 가면은 보석 같다라는 표현을 하기도 하죠. 그러면 보석이라는 게 있을 때 그러면 또 그 보석에 대해서도 생각을 해봤어요. 보석은 다른 생명체는 별로 관심이 없는 거예요. 인간이 이렇게 손톱보다도 작은 것에 대해서 굉장히 큰 가치를 매기고 그걸 때문에 사람이 막 죽고 전쟁이 나고 막 이럴 지경이란 말이죠. 그럼 그게 정말 귀한 게 보석인가? 그것과 인간 관계는 또 뭐가 있을까? 이런 걸 고민하다가 좀 아름다우면서도 생각을 할 만한 것을 표현해보자 하고 해서 나온 게 잼스톤 시리즈이고요. 그렇게 전시를 하고 있습니다.
작가님 작품도 트렌드에 맞춰서
네.
이제 사람들이 좋아할 수
맞아요.
있을 만한 잼스톤.
네, 그걸 고려한 건 맞아요.
네.
그러니까 내가 하고자 하는 얘기를 듣게끔 어떻게 보면 유인책을 아름다운 멜로디를 넣은 거죠.
맞아요.
그래서 내 가사를 들어라.
네네.
관심을 갖고 내 얘기를 들어줘. 막.
그럼 작가님 작품을 볼 때 어떤 부분을 더 중점적으로 요거를 조금 더 요거를 좀 잘 봐줬으면 좋겠는지 거기에 대해서 마지막으로 질문입니다.
그거는 결국에는 제목을 보고 열린 마음으로 감상을 하고
네네.
궁금한 게 있으면은
물어봐라.
주저하지 말고 물어보는 거죠.
네네.
그 무엇보다 중요한 거는 관심이라고 봅니다.
네네.
그래서 추상 미술이 어려운 게 아닐까요?
안 어려워요. 관심을 두면 안 어려워요.
작가님께서 아까 말씀하셨던 것 중에 저는 정말 가슴에 좀 와닿았던 게 그걸 보고 빨간색이라는 느끼고 그게 기분 좋으면 그게 다다. 그런 말씀하셨습니다. 그렇기 때문에 이제 올림픽공원 오셔가지고 혹시 막 200개가 넘는 그런 작품 중에서 마음에 드는 작품 그러니까 봤을 때 끌리는 작품 있을 거거든요.
그렇죠.
네, 그거 보고 그냥 기분 좋게 보고 느끼고 가시는 그런 시간 가지면 얼마나 좋을까 싶습니다.
네, 사람의 인연처럼 나와 내 눈을 끌고 나와 인연이 있는 작품.
네. 그런 작품 분명히 하나씩 있을 거니까 와가지고 이제 작품도 감상하시고 여유를 즐기다 가시면 좋을 것 같고요. 오늘도 귀중한 시간 내주셔가지고 너무 감사드립니다, 작가님. 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
고맙습니다.
자, 하이하이. The place 플로리안입니다. 반갑습니다. 사실 뭐 소촌에 한번 놀러 오신 분들이면 다들 아실 텐데 이렇게 소촌 골목 사이에 숨어 있는 독립 서점들이 정말 많은데요. 바로 따따따따따따따 소촌 그 책방. 거의 모든 인테리어가 지금 나무 소재로 되어 있어서 너무 약간 따뜻한 편안한 이 느낌이 나네요. 너무 좋다. 오, 이거 위로 보세요. 짜잔. 오, 이게 경복궁에서 많이 봤던 것 같은데요. 약간 그 한옥이잖아요, 여기. 그리고 이제 바로 옆에 여러 가지 책이 있는데 하나씩 노트가 붙어 있네요. 오, 뭘까요? 한번 내가 아는 책이 있는지 없는지 한번 보고 거기도 노트가 붙어 있으면 한번 읽어볼게요. 여기 하나 있다. 딸에 대하여. 짜잔. 되게 어떤 내용이냐면 인간관계란 아무리 연습해도 정말 쉽지 않은 일입니다. 그건 맞는 말이구나. 약간 줄거리보다는 이 책의 배경이나 그런 거에 이제 위주로 다는 노트 코멘트인 것 같아요. 우리는 원래 뭐 책 살 때 먼저 눈에 들어온 거는 이렇게 책 표지잖아요. 아니면 뭐 제목도 그렇고. 근데 오히려 이런 노트 코멘트 보고 결정하는 것도 나쁘지 않을 것 같아요. 너무 좋아요. 여기 노트 하나가 있는데 추천 플러스 토론 선정 총 3번의 과정을 거친 분야별 좋은 책들. 나 이거 옛날에 한번 읽었던 것 같은데 단순한 진심. 이것도 독서 모임에서 한 4번째 정독 자세히 읽었다는 뜻인 거죠. 와, 근데 여기도 하나하나 지금 메모가 붙어 있는데 좀 궁금한데 이게 진짜 누가 썼을까요? 선생님 한번 일로 오세요. 이거 반갑습니다.
찾아주셔서 감사합니다. 예.
우선은 사실 여기 메모들은 다 손글씨로 쓰셨잖아요.
예. 직접 썼습니다.
다 읽었고?
예, 요 안에 있는 책은 제가 다 읽었고요.
이야기 좀더
예.
많이 듣고 싶은데
예.
앉아서 한번 이어서 얘기해 볼까요?
예, 그럴까요?
이 책방 언제부터 운영하셨어요?
시작한 지는 6년 됐습니다.
6년이 됐어요. 저랑 동갑이네요. 저는 한국 생활 6년 차입니다.
그래요?
이 서점만의 특징이 따로 있어요, 혹시?
첫 번째는 재미있는 책을 고르는 거,
네.
두 번째는 그 재미있는 책을 가지고 사람들을 모아서 재미있는 이야기를 하게 하는 거. 그게 독서 모임이에요.
그러면 언제부터?
독서 모임을 한 것은 한참 전이에요. 이 책방을 열기 전부터. 네, 제가 독서 모임 강사였는데요. 근데 어느 날 내가 맨날 이렇게 돌아다닐 게 아니라 사람들을 불러야 되겠구나. 그래서 책방을 차려야 되겠다 생각을 했고 여기저기 돌아다니다가 서촌에 요 작은 공간을 딱 발견을 했어요. 그래서 여기다 하고
여기다.
예. 책방을 차렸습니다. 근데 사실 저희 책방의 또 하나의 특징이 뭐냐 하면 연령이 굉장히 다양해요. 가장 어린 사람이 사실 중학교 3학년도 있었어요. 거기서부터 뭐 대학생, 대학원생, 뭐 주부 해서 60대까지 있어요.
이 영상 보고 계시는 분들은 다 해외 독자분들인데
네.
그분들한테
네.
이 서촌 그 책방 한번
네.
소개해 주세요.
예. 그래서 저희 책방은 한옥으로 되어 있고요. 저희는 또 책을 이 표지를 다 보여줘요. 제목과 표지를 보면서 정말 좋은 책을 가져가실 수 있을 겁니다.
그렇죠. 네, 여러분 잘 들으셨죠? 여러분도 많이 놀러 와주세요. 나중에 여자친구랑 같이 이렇게 와서 돌려보고 데이트하러 가야겠네.
꼭 놀러 오세요.
네, 가보겠습니다.
예, 즐거운 시간이었습니다.
Thank you.
바이바이.
Global heritage will unite. We share brilliant values and honor the world's most cherished legacies to pass our heritage on to future generations. Busan invites you. The 48th session of UNESCO World Heritage Committee. July 2026, Busan, Korea.
Hello and welcome to our morning edition of Arirang News. We begin with these stories making the headlines at this hour. A day after returning from a state visit to China, President Lee Jae-myung told his senior aides that the trip had fully restored relations with Beijing. He once again stressed the importance of pragmatic diplomacy focused on national interests, adding that there are no permanent friends or foes in the international order. The final hearing of former President Yoon Suk-yeol's insurrection trial began this morning, and all eyes are on what punishment he will face, with life imprisonment a possibility. Once today's hearing concludes, the case will move to the court's verdict, which is widely expected next month. As the U.S. discusses options to acquire Greenland, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance has warned Europe to take President Donald Trump seriously. He says if European allies do not take the security of the island more seriously, the United States may step in. We begin this morning with President Lee Jae-myung's weekly meeting with his aides, a day after returning from his trip to China. Presiding over the meeting on Thursday, he called for pragmatic diplomacy, saying there are no permanent friends or foes in the international order. Our Yoon Jung-min starts us off.
영원한 적도, 영원한 우방도, 또 영원한 규칙도 없는 냉혹한 국제 질서 속에서 대한민국의 운명은 우리 스스로 개척하는 국익 중심 실용 외교에 달려 있습니다.
The South Korean president made an assessment of his 4-day state visit to China, noting that the trip served to fully restore Seoul-Beijing relations, while the Blue House, citing foreign media reports, assessed that it displayed the Lee Jae-myung-style pragmatic diplomacy. Thursday's weekly meeting with the senior aides was more than just that.
2026년이 성장의 대전환을 통한 국가 대도약의 출발점이 되도록 이념과 진영을 넘어 국민의 역량을 하나로 모아가겠습니다.
President Lee Jae-myung underlined policies to bring changes that make people feel an actual difference in their everyday lives, while noting the need to shift away from heavy concentration of resources on certain groups or regions.
특히 지방, 중소벤처, 스타트업, 그리고 청년 등 상대적으로 소외됐던 영역들이 새로운 성장의 축으로 자리 잡을 수 있도록
Topics included ways to prepare for a transition to the AI era, checking what's needed, and bolstering related international cooperation.
To turn AI into our growth engine and the infrastructure of our daily lives, we discussed a comprehensive strategy, such as securing infrastructure and seeking new industries.
The meeting came amid intensifying global competition over energy, as some watchers view the recent U.S. attack on Venezuela as linked to oil. President Lee also instructed his officials to brace for a change in energy paradigms, citing increasing global uncertainties. Yoon Jung-min, Arirang News.
U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance has warned Europe to take President Donald Trump seriously on Greenland, as Washington weighs options ranging from security pressure to direct payments to Greenlanders, despite Danish objections. Now the move comes as U.S. intervention in Venezuela deepens following the seizure of Nicolas Maduro, with Trump signaling a prolonged role. Our Lee Seung-jae has more.
U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance has warned European leaders to take President Donald Trump seriously over his push to bring Greenland under U.S. control, as Washington signals it is prepared to act if security concerns are not addressed. Speaking at a White House briefing on Thursday, Vance said the United States believes Europe has failed to adequately safeguard Greenland's strategic importance. He warned that if European allies do not take the security of the island more seriously, the United States may step in. Greenland occupies a key position between Europe and North America and plays a critical role in the U.S. ballistic missile defense system. The island is also rich in rare earth minerals and other resources, aligning with Washington's broader effort to reduce dependence on China for strategic materials. U.S. officials have discussed a range of options for acquiring Greenland. According to sources familiar with the matter, the White House has considered offering lump sum payments to Greenlanders as part of a bid to persuade the population to secede from Denmark and potentially join the U.S. Internal discussions have included figures ranging from $10,000 to $100,000 per person, though no final amount or mechanism has been decided. Officials say the proposals are among several ideas under consideration, including the possible use of U.S. military power. The debate over Greenland comes as U.S. actions elsewhere raise fresh concerns among allies. With U.S. forces carrying out a military operation that seized Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro, President Trump said U.S. intervention in the South American nation could last for years. In an interview with the New York Times on Wednesday, Trump said only time will tell how long the United States will oversee Venezuela's governance following the operation. He did not specify when elections might be held to replace the interim administration led by Maduro ally Delcy Rodriguez. 이승재, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, European leaders and the United Nations have voiced strong concern over the U.S. recent actions that appear to turn away from its allies and subvert global rules. Our Oh Soo-young has more.
French President Emmanuel Macron has warned that the United States under Donald Trump is turning away from its allies and breaking with the international rules it once promoted. Macron made the remarks on Thursday amid growing uncertainty over Washington's global role and its commitment to the rule of law. This as the Trump administration continues to issue statements on controlling Greenland, a territory of fellow NATO member Denmark.
The U.S. is an established power, but one that is gradually turning away from some of its allies and freeing itself from international rules it promoted not long ago, whether in trade, certain security matters, or some forums.
Germany's president delivered a similarly blunt assessment. Frank-Walter Steinmeier warned that there is a breakdown of shared values with Washington, which was Europe's most important partner in shaping the world order. Steinmeier said U.S. behavior represented a second historic rupture of the global system after Russia's annexation of Crimea and its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. He called for stronger collective action to prevent lawlessness on the world stage. As questions swirl around the future of U.S. global engagement, the United Nations has expressed regret over Washington's decision to withdraw from dozens of international and UN bodies, including a key climate framework and an organization promoting gender equality and women's empowerment. Trump said the bodies operate contrary to U.S. national interests.
The Secretary General regrets the announcement by the White House regarding the United States' decision to withdraw from a number of United Nations entities. The UN is an organization of 193 member states, 2 observer states. It is in the interest of all these member states and the 2 observers to defend the principles that they themselves have created.
The US is the largest contributor to the UN's regular budget, paying the maximum assessed rate of 22%. The regular budget for 2026 totals around $3.45 billion, covering political missions, humanitarian operations, disarmament efforts, and economic and social affairs. The US made no payments to the regular budget last year, meaning it owes roughly $1.5 billion, according to the UN spokesperson. While the US Constitution allows presidents to join treaties with the approval of 2/3 of the Senate, it does not clearly define the process for withdrawal, raising questions over whether a future president could simply reverse course. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News.
So the United States says it's discussing options to acquire Greenland and that it'll not rule out the use of military. For more on this, we're joined today by Daniel Connolly, Associate Professor of International Relations at Hankuk University of Foreign Studies. Professor Connolly, thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
So this Trump's idea of acquiring Greenland isn't new, but do you think military intervention is actually realistic?
Right. A decade ago, even the question of using military force against a NATO ally would be something out of the pages of a kind of unbelievable science fiction novel or a cheap thriller movie. But the Trump administration has this habit of joking about something, and they gauge the resistance to the idea, they keep joking about it, and then they actually do it. And I think this has a lot to do with like how taboos work. the more you talk about a taboo, the more it seems acceptable, the more it fades. And I think talking about using violence against a NATO member is a symptom of just how much the world has changed. That being said, I don't think the US will use military force like we saw in Venezuela or Iraq in 2003. The US would rather purchase the land or kind of force some concessions from the Danish government. But if violence or military force was used, I would expect like a hybrid warfare model. So lots of US disinformation, political influence operations, cultivation of a separatist movement in Greenland that would then request the US military's assistance. And for those of you that know your history, this is exactly how the United States got Texas in the 19th century. So it's not an unbelievable kind of occurrence.
I see. And the U.S. Secretary of State says he will meet with Danish officials about Greenland next week. How do you think the talks will play out?
Right. It's important to bear in mind that in these talks, there's actually going to be three groups in the room: the United States, the Danish government, and also officials from Greenland, which is a self-governing part of the Danish kingdom. And this is going to make it hard for Denmark to kind of negotiate with the United States, because in a three-actor game, the US can put a lot of enticements and pressure on the Danish government or the Greenland officials, which will make it hard for them to create kind of a united front. More broadly, I think Denmark's European allies are also torn between this desire to preserve US support in the war in Ukraine, but also trying to criticize US kind of talk about use of violence or violations of Denmark's sovereignty. And this really exposes Europe's hollow position right now. Europe started off with the second Trump administration trying to use a lot of flattery. The Secretary General of NATO called Trump daddy. But this flattery has not worked. The United States simply just keeps elevating their concessions. And right now, the Europeans need to win in Ukraine, which needs US support, but they also need Greenland, which means resisting US demands. It's going to be very difficult to do both, in my opinion.
Right. And how might all these latest developments surrounding Greenland sort of affect Washington's relations with countries like China and Russia?
On the surface, I think many commentators think that Russia and China are secretly happy to see the United States burning down its own alliances. But I think more fundamentally, there is a big difference between Russia and China, in my opinion. I think Russia has a lot more similarities with the United States. They are both strong military powers that have engaged in illegal wars. They're kind of rogue actors in today's international system. China, I would suggest, is much more status quo. And when I say China, this also, I would say, includes all of Northeast Asian states, Korea, Japan. We all need freedom of the sea. We need the globalized trading order. China is deeply concerned about the unraveling of this rule-based globalized system, because this is what helped pull tens and hundreds of millions of people out of poverty, and there's still a lot more work to be done. So when you see these kinds of US, basically stopping tankers on the high seas, this is definitely very concerning for Chinese policymakers, because unlike Russia, which has kind of been a loser of globalization, China and I would say South Korea and Japan have been winners in globalization. So all three countries have to be deeply concerned about the US willfully unraveling the globalized and rule-based system.
I see. And on Venezuela, the U.S. says the only oil transported in and out of the country will be through approved channels consistent with U.S. law and national security interests. What's your take on this, and how might this affect the broader geopolitical landscape?
Right. Again, many commentators call this the Trump administration's own goal, right? They're doing something that's hurting their own cause. But this is assuming that the US is playing the same game as everyone else. And Trump has been saying repeatedly that he's not playing the same game that previous US administrations have. Even today, he gave an interview talking about that he doesn't believe in international law, just his own morality. To be honest, the liberal world order is dying, and the US is the main actor doing it. And it's not just a Trump problem, though. I would say it goes back to the illegal NATO war against Kosovo in 1999, Iraq invasion of 2003, then Russia, the war in Georgia, the war in Ukraine. When the hegemon starts breaking international law, it empowers all sorts of other actors to do similar transgressions. In the past, US allies felt quite safe, thinking that US behavior only affected other countries. But recently, we see Trump now doing this to their own allies. Greenland, Canada being described as the 51st state, casual discussions about invading Mexico. I think this is sending a chill throughout the world order that being a friend of the United States does not give you safety anymore. And I think this really underscores that we need to start thinking about diversifying our international relations for middle powers and small powers and cultivating autonomy so that sometimes we can say no to unjust demands by great powers.
Right. All right, Professor Connolly, thank you so much for your insight this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
The main criminal trial determining whether the December 3rd declaration of emergency martial law constitutes insurrection has just begun its final phase. The Seoul Central District Court is holding closing arguments on Friday in the case that charges former President Yoon Suk-yeol with leading an insurrection, alongside senior military and police officials accused of carrying out key roles. The closing session comes 402 days after the martial law declaration and 341 days after Yoon became the first sitting president in South Korean history to be arrested and indicted. Prosecutors are presenting their final arguments and sentencing requests, followed by closing statements from the defense and the defendants themselves. Once today's hearing concludes, the case will move to the court's verdict, which is expected next month. The United Nations has forecast global economic growth at 2.7% this year, slightly slower than in 2025 and below pre-pandemic averages. In its latest outlook released on Thursday, the UN said the global economy remains resilient, despite higher tariffs supported by solid consumer spending, accommodative monetary policy, and stable labor markets. However, it warned that trade growth is likely to slow in the near term. South Korea's economy is projected to grow 1.8% in 2026 and 2% in 2027, broadly in line with the Bank of Korea's forecast, as easing inflation and recovering domestic demand provide support. Team Korea is gearing up for a pivotal year on the global sporting stage, especially as the Winter Olympics near. The push begins with the 2026 training commencement ceremony for national athletes held at Korea's main training center. Our correspondent Park Kon-woo has the story.
Sliding and gliding smoothly before accelerating as if it were an actual race. For these Korean national team athletes, slowing down is not an option as the clock keeps ticking, lap after lap, in pursuit of their goals.
I feel grateful to compete in my third Olympics alongside such great teammates. I'll give it my all once again, and with the skaters that I trust, we will show once more why Korea is a powerhouse in short track.
And it's not just the ice skaters who are shedding blood, sweat, and tears. Athletes from other disciplines, including curling, are also fully locked in, carrying bold ambitions of their own. That comes as mixed doubles curling is the very first match for Team Korea in the upcoming Winter Olympics.
We always review our matches. focusing more on the positives. That's helped us improve over time. We're confident we will win the first game, and a strong start will definitely boost the morale of the entire Korean team.
In about 30 days' time, these athletes will finally get the chance to show the world the effort they've poured in for months, possibly years, at the Winter Games in Milan and Cortina d'Ampezzo for around 2 weeks. And that determination is on full display, as loud Team Korea chants filled the air during the 2026 training commencement ceremony held Wednesday at the Jincheon National Training Center in Central Korea. Athletes from a wide range of sporting disciplines, also including summer sports, gathered, reaffirming their resolve for the season ahead. With major international competitions lined up this year, including the Winter Games, Korea's sports ministry says expanded government support is on the way.
International competitions are major events that reflect a nation's global standing. The fair play and confident sportsmanship you show in competition make Korea a source of pride worldwide. Our ministry will continue to support you fully so that you can focus solely on training and turn all your dreams into reality.
While South Korea claimed 2 gold medals at the Beijing Winter Games 4 years ago, this time the country now aims to add at least 1 more, possibly from disciplines beyond its traditional ice sports strongholds. With just about a month to go until the Olympics begin, athletes will continue to train hard, carrying the determination they forged here, aiming to make the national anthem echo through arenas and help South Korea shine on the global stage. 박건우, Arirang News, Jincheon.
Good morning, I'm Chu Ji-hyun, and this is The World Now. A deadly shooting by federal immigration agents in Minnesota has ignited protests across the United States. Video footage showing an ICE agent shooting 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good during an anti-ICE protest in Minneapolis on Wednesday has spread online and fueled nationwide demonstrations. Vice President J.D. Vance defended the agent's actions on Thursday, calling the shooting self-defense and labeling the case as a federal matter after the FBI took control of the investigation. Minnesota officials pushed back, accusing federal authorities of blocking state involvement. The White House has vowed to continue ICE operations, while local leaders demand an independent investigation. Protests erupted in Iran's capital Tehran on Thursday night after a call by the country's exiled crown prince for mass demonstrations. Crowds chanted from rooftops and flooded streets, tearing flags and setting fire to symbols linked to the current government while calling for a return to monarchy-led rule. Iranian authorities cut internet and phone services almost immediately, signaling preparations for a crackdown. The unrest follows weeks of nationwide protests driven by economic collapse, including a currency crash and market shutdown. Human rights groups confirmed at least 41 deaths and over 2,000 arrests as the unrest spread to rural provinces. U.S. President Donald Trump has warned he will hit Iran, quote, very hard if peaceful protesters are killed. Saudi Arabia has accused the United Arab Emirates of secretly smuggling a wanted Yemeni separatist leader out of Yemen. Saudi officials on Thursday said Aidalus al-Jubaidi, the leader of the Southern Transitional Council, fled by boat to Somalia before flying to Abu Dhabi. The UAE has not publicly responded to the accusation. This comes as the Saudi-UAE partnership in the Yemen war unravels, with separatist forces advancing and Riyadh launching airstrikes against the group. NASA has decided to shorten a mission aboard the International Space Station after an astronaut experienced a medical issue. The agency said on Thursday that the 4-member U.S., Japanese, Russian crew will return to Earth days earlier than original plans, canceling scheduled spacewalks. NASA said the medical issue arose on Wednesday and stressed the astronaut is now stable, describing the move as a precaution, not an emergency evacuation.
It was another cool start for the commute this morning, but temperatures will climb nicely this afternoon and we'll get a brief break from the cold on Saturday. But that pause will not last long as another round of freezing air returns on Sunday. However, rain or snow will begin tonight in Gyeonggi-do and Gangwon-do provinces, then spread nationwide over the weekend. Parts of Gangwon-do and Jeollado provinces could see up to 15 centimeters of heavy snowfall. The capital region will get 1 to 3 centimeters mainly on Saturday. But this afternoon will be much warmer than yesterday, topping out at 6 degrees under cloudy skies here in Seoul, Daegu, Gyeongju, both topping out at 7 degrees Celsius. Now plan accordingly for your weekend. There will be snow and freezing temperatures. Then brace for an intense cold snap through next week with more rain or snow expected across Korea.
That's all we have for this morning. Arirang News will be back at noon Korea time. Thanks for watching.
How to survive in Korea. Workplace. Step 1. Lunchtime. The most important morning routine is to check today's menu. Food is essential for survival. Memorize today's menu. The highlight of office life. Lunchtime. Rice in the bottom left, soup in the bottom right. The top is for the sides. The sauce and the spoon go here. This is the basic layout, but it's a bit odd to switch rice and soup. When you're done, pour the leftovers into the soup bowl. It doesn't look that appetizing, so wait until others are done eating. Step 2. Neng, nep, nenep. These are the most used expressions at work. Choose the most appropriate form. Neng, nep, nenep. Remember that the formal ne can sound a bit stiff. Did you just say yes? Absolutely not acceptable. You want to find the right word for the right occasion. Step 3. Desteria. Desteria is the oasis in the desert. Show them your character. If you're not the diligent type, get a stooky plant. Work is tough. Laugh and the whole world laughs with you. Weep and you weep alone. Stay put, like the stooky that survives in the desert. Hang in there until the end. Of course, you can always quit. You matter more than anything else. Step 4. Survival kit. Every worker needs a survival kit. Survival kit level 1. This position gets the most exposure. Grab one when you need a sugar boost. Always keep a few treats you can offer your co-workers. Survival kit level 2. These are for hunger pangs before and after a meal. You'll need them when you take a coffee break with your office buddies. Survival kit level 3. Trash talking your boss with your soulmate. Did you survive in the workplace? Office romance? Be careful. Even the photocopier knows all the gossip.
We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Friday, January 9th here in Seoul. I'm Lee Soo-jin, and this is News Generation. Joining us today is Cheska.
Happy Friday, everyone!
Happy Friday! Also, Moonji's with us.
Good morning.
Good morning, and both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. So we finally made it to the end of the week, and with the new year just getting started, a lot of people have been checking up on their fortunes, hoping to get some insight into their luck, careers, and relationships in the year ahead. From horoscopes to tarot cards, it's something many of us do around this time. So what about you, Cheska? Do you usually look at your fortunes?
So in Korea, there's a very popular fortune reading called Saju, right, which is kind of like looking at your life, and it's sort of based on statistics, but a lot of my friends actually do Saju at the end of the year or beginning of the year, or when their relationship are sort of souring or they want to make an important decision in job careers. So I would tag along. And as we will discuss in today's episode, Saju in Korea is a great way to connect with your girlfriends.
Right.
So we would talk about it endlessly over coffee and dessert after it. So I think for me, the experience is more the post-Saju rather than the reading itself. Yeah.
I'm actually Christian, but I do have a lot of friends around me that actually still get that chance.
Yes, very much so.
What about you, Moonju?
Oh, I completely agree. It brings endless talk,
Yes.
you know, endless gossip. That being said, I'm a Saju and tarot person, actually.
You are? Okay.
And I regularly visit those places, and actually I visited yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Like last night.
So
Like
how often
actually,
do you go?
it's like today because I visited there after 12 a.m.
Wow.
So actually today, I went there for the New Year's Saju, because you know the year has started.
Yes.
So anyways, I've also tried it with ChatGPT, and it was pretty accurate. So I kind of compared it, and it was pretty accurate. So, you know, according to my results, my personality is very positive, expressive.
Okay.
And this kind of brings me to the suited occupations are like those revolving around talking or like explaining things. So, and also most importantly, the relationship-wise,
Oh, that's the juicy stuff.
That's very positive, very, you know, objective, you know. I will be having increasing opportunities of, you know, any kind of, you know, blind dates or like, you know, those kind of things. And also it will come slowly, so I think I should get some peace in my mind and take some time here.
Woonju, are you sure you don't take this seriously?
I don't.
You seem
No,
really
it's not- I'm
dedicated.
just taking it for fun. I'm very dedicated, but for fun.
It seems like you're very into it.
I'm very into it, but still. And lastly, my career-wise, it says I'm gonna peak my ability this year, so that's a pretty good thing. So it was very positive Saju for me. Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks ChatGPT for giving me those kind of courage. Yeah.
So it looks like there's a lot of young people like Moonju who are turning to fortune telling. So we're going to talk more about this, but first, let's take a look at the screen.
Once considered outdated or even dismissed as superstition, fortune-telling has made a surprising comeback. From Korea's Haju readings to tarot cards and astrology apps, checking one's fortune has become a common pastime among young people. Today on News Generation, we take a closer look at why so many young people are drawn to fortune-telling, how this trend has taken hold, its positive sides and potential pitfalls, and how to enjoy fortune readings in a healthy and balanced way.
So as we just saw in the video, fortune telling has gone from something people quietly believed in to something many young people like Moonju openly enjoy. For the millennial and Gen Z generation, it's no longer a serious life decision, it's becoming a form of entertainment. So Cheska, has checking fortunes really become a popular pastime among young people? Is there data to back this up?
Yes, I mean, Moonju and I are definitely in that category. And it's actually very big here in Korea. I mean, some take it quite seriously, like Moonju, while many, including myself, I think, see it as one form of great entertainment. So if we quickly take a look at the screen, we can actually see quite a striking stat. When asked, have you ever tried any type of fortune reading, whether it be tarot, astrology, 사주? 92%.
Wow.
That's a lot of people said they have. And the 2% who said, quote, my parents did the reading for me is also very interesting to note, because in Korea, fortune reading is also part of the culture. So a lot of parents in older generation would do a reading for the entire family. They would sometimes even do matchmaking based on these haju readings. So from the older generation to ours, the way we access the service is also shifting. As Moonju explained, now there are free websites you can use, apps, and even AIs, ChatGPT, and even phone calls haju that a lot of my friends do, because when they're so busy, they can just ring and then get their data. So previously you had to visit these very good spots or places, kind of get that energy from those people, sit and get a reading. But now with technology, I think app market has been growing year by year from an average of about 20 to 28%. And for most of the MZ generation, they actually would prefer the app and the website for convenience. Yeah.
I mean, the numbers you showed us, over 90% saying they've checked their fortune at least once, really shows how mainstream this really has become. And it's interesting that instead of visiting a fortune teller in person, many are turning to apps as well, because they're so easy to access. So how else, Moonji, are young people accessing fortune telling content these days?
You should be the one to know.
This is my expertise. I know, expertise. And by the way, thanks for calling me young people. You know, I've been into, I don't want to really mention my age or something, but thank you. Anyways, these days, with the development of non-face-to-face platforms, fortune telling is available in various forms, not just through applications. We could do it via YouTube, phone consultations, and messaging services, as Jessica just mentioned. There are even content variations that include, MBTI types, or even psychological tests into fortune telling. The recent rise of AI usage has led to the popularity of AI-based 사주, which is very accurate, pretty accurate. These ratings are grounded in traditional astrology, providing interpretations based on data, which many find to be very reliable. And when visiting for a fortune reading, there are no monetary demands for amulets or rituals, making it a perfect choice for MZ generation these days.
So it's really fascinating how fortune telling is evolving alongside technology, spreading across YouTube, messaging apps, and even AI-based services. And you just told me before the show how you got your fortune read yesterday. It was pretty similar to using
pretty
ChatGPT,
accurate.
right?
I was surprised.
Right.
Yeah.
So the fact that AI is seen as more data-driven and less pushy in terms of money really seems to resonate with younger viewers. So that brings us to a bigger question. Then why do you think young people are so drawn to Saju and other types of fortune telling in the first place?
I think there are many reasons, but one of them I feel is one major one is being the desire to know the, quote, unknown. I think young people sort of feel lost at control at a lot of the things that are happening, whether it be relationship, career, or a lot of things. And people want to know when things are moving incredibly fast, they feel out of control. And that uncertainty, I think, creates anxiety. And for many, turning to 사주 or fortune telling becomes a way to cope with that fear. It's almost like sort of like you're borrowing a sense of order from something beyond your own reality. And in fact, this anxiety is very real. According to Korea's Health Insurance Review and Assessment Service, the number of patients diagnosed with anxiety disorder has increased to about 75% over the past decade. So when anxiety builds, I think people are more likely to fall into helplessness and frustration. So fortune reading in Korea is one way to sort of assert some level of its very abstract but still tangible control and a direction, and perhaps even, I would say, which is quite important, a distraction from some of the things that are happening right now, whether it be fear and concern. And I think, as Moonju did when he showed us his reading, you kind of get this sense of feeling like, well, things will work out eventually. Yeah.
Right, and that connection to uncertainty really stands out. So when jobs, relationships, and even daily life feel unpredictable, it makes sense that people would look for some kind of reassurance. But at the same time, Moonji, are young people actually relying on fortunes to make decisions? Like, how seriously are they taking this?
Even though I pretty much seemed like I am very serious, I'm not really, and most people are not really into that kind of results. Only 70% of the MZ generation reported that they merely reference the results, and only 5% indicated they rely heavily on those readings. Instead of blindly believing in fortunes, MZ individuals just enjoy viewing them for fun and discussing the outcomes with friends, like gossiping with friends. And much like with the MBTI, they use readings as a means of trying to getting better understanding of yourselves, and perceiving them as a way to relieve stress and gain some entertainment like factors. So it is more of an entertaining activity than a serious belief system.
Right, I think you made an important point there. So rather than blindly believing in fortunes, many seem to treat them almost like MBTI results. Something fun to talk about and a way to understand themselves better. So in that sense, fortune telling isn't about predicting the future. It's become part of a shared culture and a new kind of play. So we also ran a poll on the Arirang News YouTube channel asking viewers which topic they would most want to know their fortune for. So here's what the results showed. So the top answer was wealth, with 38% saying financial prospects were their biggest concern. Health came next at 28%, followed by career at 18% and love at 16%. So overall, the results suggest that practical, real-life concerns outweigh romance actually when it comes to fortune telling. So this is quite actually surprising for me that love actually ranks lower than health and money, which does challenge the stereotype that fortune telling is mostly about relationships. So to better understand this trend, we wanted to look beyond Korea. So to learn more, we'll be speaking with someone from Japan, a country where fortune telling is also deeply embedded in everyday culture. And that conversation will take place right after the break, so don't go anywhere.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search out channel Arirang News. Click Posts and cast your vote in the poll. Make a new type of news with us.
Joining us today is Chihiro, a millennial from Japan, a country that also has a deep cultural connection to fortune telling. Hello, thank you so much for connecting with us today.
Hello, thanks for having me. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. So to people in your country, in Japan, usually check their fortunes at the start of the new year like they do in Korea. And if so, what kind of fortune telling is the most common?
Yeah, in Japan, it's very common to visit a shrine or temple at the beginning of the year and draw something called omikuji. It's a fortune slip. And if you get a bad result, and many people tie it to a tree branch in a temple or shrine to leave the bad luck behind. And I think the common fortune-telling ones are apps and website in Japan. But I actually went back to Japan at the end of last year, and these days you can find lots and lots of books in bookstores that tell your fortune for the whole year. And so I think there's so many different ways to get fortune telling in Japan.
As you heard from our episode, there are a lot of young people in Korea who love to do fortune reading. So we're also curious, is fortune telling sort of seen as something very trendy, hip, or even cool among young people in Japan?
Yeah, I think fortune telling has long been a part of everyday life in Japan. So for example, omikuji isn't only for New Year. You can actually draw one at any time of the year. And also on morning TV shows, almost every single commercial channel has a daily fortune segment, and some are based on zodiac signs, and some are even based on blood types. And but most Japanese people don't take it too seriously, including myself, though. And it's more like a fun guide for the day and something to talk about with your friend and colleagues. And that said, I think fortune telling has been getting even more attention recently. And there's a TV program that started about 5 years ago where celebrities are invited to have their personal fortunes read on air. And some predictions like when they would get married have actually come true. So that show is very, very popular in Japan and very fun to watch.
Yeah, I see. And I think that's pretty similar here in South Korea also. And so briefly, our last question for you today is, what do you see as the benefits and drawbacks of checking your fortune? And on a personal level, what was it like having your fortune read?
Yeah, I think the good thing about fortune telling is that it can give a positive push or help you reflect on your life. But the downside is that if you take it too seriously, it might affect your mood too much.
Yes.
And personally, I only believe the good fortunes, only good fortune. And if it's something positive, I'll happily take it as a motivation. And if it's not, I just smile and move on.
I agree. I think moderation is definitely key in these kind of stuff. So thank you so much for sharing your insight with us today.
Thank you very much.
So we just heard from someone in Japan who shared what kinds of fortune telling are most common there, how popular it is among younger generations, and what she sees as both the benefits and the drawbacks. Now let's bring the focus back to Korea and look more closely at how this trend is playing out among young people right here. So when it comes to millennials and Gen Zs in Korea, how would you describe this fortune telling trend, and what do you see as the positive side of checking your fortune out?
I definitely think there's an emotional aspect to it. So there is emotional relief. We sort of talked about it. When things aren't working out very well, it's something to hold on to and say, wow, if I just get through this, it will eventually get better. And it is also a great source of entertainment because it's a distraction from uncertainty. I think a lot of people share their findings, like we talked about, or readings with their friends and others. And through mutual sharing, it also becomes one way to bond with others. So I think it's both kind of a therapy, a counseling session, a very informal one, and also like a communication outlet. Yeah.
So that idea of fortune telling as emotional comfort really stands out. So rather than seeing as a prediction of the future, many young people seem to be using as a counseling channel or even a social activity they can enjoy together. But at what point can this become problematic? So what are the risks or potential downsides that people should be aware of?
Yeah, blindly believing in fortunes can lead to some problems, including Barnum effect, which refers to a tendency of individuals, kind of interpreting vague statements as personally relevant statements. This can create a false sense of accuracy in fortune telling, and it often provides, you often provide personal information while doing these kind of things. And if the data management systems are not transparent or secure, this could kind of lead to issues of privacy. So I think it's crucial to approach such practices with awareness and mindfulness to protect yourself.
I think you gave us a really good, important warning, especially about the personal data risks. It reminds us that even when something feels harmless or fun, there can be real consequences if we're not too careful. So with that in mind, how can people enjoy fortune telling in a more smarter, healthier, and safer way?
Susan, I thought about this question, and one thing came to my mind, which is I think our words have a power to shape our destiny or our lives. So what I mean by that is if we take certain readings or certain fortune telling way too seriously and start let that dictating our lives might actually happen in the way that we do not desire, even though it wasn't destined to go that way. So in a way, I think it's more about not just taking it blindly, but also maintaining that control in your life, regardless of what the reading is, because how you interpret things, how you see things, are eventually how your life is going to be shaped. So take the fortune reading for fun, for entertainment, but always make sure that you always have the internal locus of control, and that should be sort of exerted outwardly. Yeah.
I think that also goes along with what Chihir said during the Zoom interview as well. How moderation is really important, and also remember, like you said, you're in charge of your life and your choices. So what are your thoughts on this, Moonju?
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think one of the main reasons why young people these days kind of engage in fortune telling is due to anxiety of their own selves. So I think I've experienced this quite often, not often, but sometimes. And when the results are favorable, it brings a sense of comfort and reassurance that you are doing well, prompting your next visits and stuff. So, but however, as we mentioned earlier, relying too much on these outcomes isn't very healthy. And I think to prevent this kind of dependence, it might be beneficial to explore lighter topics like love predictions, New Year forecasts and stuff, like I do most of the time. And this way, I think individuals can relieve stress while still enjoying the fun aspects of fortune telling, like giving some self-assurance or gossiping with friends and talking endlessly in the cafe with some desserts and coffee.
Using that as a motivation to start the chat that you guys kind of wanted to talk
about. Yeah, it's a good conversation starter.
Yes.
Shall we go later?
I'm very much in. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So I think a lot of young people relate to what we've been saying, seeking reassurance when things feel uncertain, but also recognizing that too much reliance can backfire, and treating fortunes as just one reference or even checking them out after the day has passed really shifts the focus back to fun rather than control. So in the end, it seems that the key is balance, enjoying the experience without letting it define your choices. And that brings us to the end of today's episode of News Generation, but News Gen will be back on Monday at 10:30 a.m. Korea time with more stories and discussions. A big thanks to Cheska.
Pleasure's always mine, thank you.
And also Moonju.
Thanks for having me today.
And to our viewers, thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope you have the best day. We are News Generation.
How to survive in Korea. Cafes. Step 1. Find a seat. Before ordering, find a seat. Laptop, ID, smartphone, jacket, whatever that can mark your territory. But no bites. It's a little too big. Step 2. Pick up. We do not ask or call your name. We call out, B69 고객님. The buzzer will vibrate when your order is ready at the counter. Wait, got your straw? Keep the top of the wrapper on. Doing this is more hygienic. Step 3. Cafe etiquette. If you need to use your laptop, find a seat next to a socket. No extra charge for using electricity. But if you're staying over 3 hours, how about ordering another drink or dessert? Step 4. Last bite standing. There's a mysterious custom in Korea. The last bite standing. When there's about 1 bite left of that cake, nobody will go for it. You might be tempted, but don't be hasty. Right before you get up, take the last piece saying that you simply can't waste food, or just leave it. It will save a few calories. Did you survive at the cafe? Did someone behind the counter catch your eye? Go for the same drink every single day.
오늘도 아이스 말차 라떼 드실 거죠?
You might make an impression.
Crunchers, I'm your DJ Jihi, and this is Culture Crunch. Now, a recent Harvard study says that 11 a.m. right now in Korea is when our logic is the sharpest. It's basically a golden hour for the brain. Meanwhile, those of you who are tuning in from the other side of the world, it's Thursday night, and that's when the brain is most creative, apparently. So, today, across time zones, it's time to activate the brain. A corner that rejects the ordinary, a corner that activates the brain. It's our K quiz segment, Crunch the K. Well, we'll jump in right after our first song. Here's XOXO by Say My Name.
XOXO Hotline. 뭐가 좋을지 뭐가 답인지 don't know it. Yeah, 맡기는 대로 채워갈래 every moment. 설레는 new start. 두 눈을 떠보면 한뼘 큰 world. 우리 부르고 있어. 쉽게 알 수 없는 널. 반짝이는 호기심으로 맘이 두근대는 곳. Yeah. 서툴러도 괜찮아. 우리 앞에 가능성이란 늘 무한하니까. Hey, oh oh oh, hold on. 한 발 더 뻗어. 사각까지 꿈으로 넘치는 나의 confidence. 맞고 틀리는 건 I don't mind. 엄마 새롭게 빙긋 정답을 그려가지. 호기심이 커져. 엄마 아직 알쏭달쏭 새로워 재미잖아. 즐겨도 배우면 돼. Come now 설렘이로 물드는 run. XOXO Hotline. 네 맘대로 만드는 flow. 찾아가 XOXO Hotline. 우리 꼬마 쿠키 주는 한몸 쿵쿵해. 달라도 내 맘에 들면 뭐든 상관없잖아. I'm going to do it my way. Oh oh oh, hold on. Take direction. 나까지 앞으로 선명해 나의 confidence. 맞고 틀리는 건 I don't mind. 엄마 새롭게 find out 정답을 그려가지. 호기심이 커져. 느끼는 대로 빈칸을 채워 나만 줬다면 that's perfect time XOXO 엄마 나도 baby now 매일이 여행같이 떨리면 너 가자 XOXO 엄마 아직 아송다송 미칠 속에 Pandora 하나씩 열어갈게 XOXO Come now 네가 니로 징그러진 모든 훔쳐가 XOXO Everything 기대해봐 나만의 세계로 Here I go 매일 눈부셔 Keep going out
Ready to test your K-culture knowledge? It's time for Crunch the K. From K-pop to K-literature, become a K-culture master through fiery quiz battles. Are you ready? All right, so today on Crunch the K, we have our usual friend Tom, as well as a new face joining us for the battle. Well, could you say hello to our listeners? Let's start with Tom.
Start with me. Everyone's probably already kind of bored of me right now.
No.
You've seen me every week. But yeah, hello everyone. It's a pleasure to be back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Had a good week, Tom?
Great week, yeah.
Okay.
And I like the weather.
You like the weather?
right now, it's cold, but it's clear, and I quite like that.
Yeah. No fine dust.
Exactly.
Yes,
So,
yes.
yeah.
All right, you're
Always a
such
good
a
mood.
Korean now. All right, and the new face, the newcomer is Thibaut. Hello
Yes.
and welcome.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank
As you
you
can
for
see
coming.
from my accent, I'm from France.
Mhm.
And today I'm going to try to compete with Tom. Yes. Even though I'm going to use only luck because my knowledge is not as great as yours.
All right, well, how long have you been living in Korea for, Thibaut?
Like overall, all my stay is like 9 months. But now I came back 1 month ago.
Okay, well, it's great to have you here. And from what I know, you're pretty big on social media right now.
I don't know if big is a very appropriate word, but yeah, I'm trying my best on social media, going around French places in Korea to show if they are good or not. So I'm judging with the French strictness. So yeah, it's going well so far. So I'm happy.
Well, let's take a look at one of your videos that we have prepared.
Yes. So snack number 1 is going to be madongsan. I think it's something sweet. I'm not sure. Looks like this. I think it's some honey and peanut. That is pretty good. Madongsan 8.3. Also, shout out to Castify for sending me my own.
Okay, you know what? What did you think of that, Tom?
Wow, I mean, it's a good idea, right? To like review Korean snacks, especially for like the foreign audience. And especially because the like foreigners might have a different palate, right?
Right.
So like, I know when I first came here, all like the crisps were kind of like different to what I'm usually used to. So yeah, I think it's like unique. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty unique. By the way, it's 맛동산, not 마동산. It's just like your.
It's so hard. Like
is it?
Dong. Like it's like oh. It's the same. I don't like it. I have to learn more.
No, but it's good. I mean, those are the things that you upload, and you find the French sort of things that are in Korea, including croissants,
Yes.
right? Oh, okay. But what brought you here in the beginning?
Honestly, just some friend told me, okay, I was living in Paris and I didn't want to stay there anymore. So some friends told me, foreigners, they told me Korea is so nice, you have to try it and even try modeling or something. So I just left Paris, I came here just to see if I can do something. And well, turns out quite well so far. So now I'm back and we'll see how far I can go.
Oh, okay. I think that's pretty similar to how Tom came here.
Yeah,
in
pretty
Korea,
much.
Right?
Yeah, I came to like study, but it was the same thing where friends suggested to come here.
Yeah,
right? So,
I remember you saying.
Yeah, pretty similar path.
Yeah, but Tom, as the senior of living in Korea, you've lived in Korea longer than Thibaut.
3.5 years.
3.5
maybe
years.
nearly 4 years. So yeah.
Yeah, so that's like
Bit
4
more.
times longer.
Wow. Yes. Wow. I feel old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were to give like a tip
on
living in
advice.
Korea, what would you tell Thibaut?
Well, learning Korean will be one.
Learn your
definitely
Korean.
through
Okay.
that you can make a lot more like sort of friends, and you can sort of experience the real Korea like more. And another one would be get good at like drinking because Koreans are very, very strong drinkers. So like every time I go out with my friends, it's quite a hard time. If you're quite weak at drinking, it might be difficult. So,
Okay,
I
well-
would suggest that.
Thank you.
You think this will help you live in Korea?
I think it will.
longer?
Yeah, the
Okay.
second one mostly.
Well, you can improve your Korean through socializing.
The more,
That is so true.
The more Korean.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
the more you drink, the more Korean
more
you
Korean you
get.
get. I think so.
Okay.
Less shy,
That's the rule.
Okay. All right. Well, I like the vibe right here. And I like how, you're the senior and you're sort of like teaching Thibaut Korean culture.
Maybe not
Maybe
a good teacher. Maybe not a good teacher, but
Sharing your experience, perhaps.
Yeah.
So today's quiz is all about K culture. So, Thibaut, how would you rate your Korean skills, first of all? How well are you at speaking Korean?
Out of 10, I would give it speaking a 2.
2?
Yeah, 2 out of 10.
Oh, okay. Well, earlier our writer said a 4, maybe. You're a little better
4
than that.
If I'm very focused. So I will try to be very focused. But reading and writing, much better.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe my writing is not correct, but it's gonna be the same.
Oh, okay.
But usually it's not a speaking test, right? Usually
not.
it's a reading and writing.
Exactly.
So, wow.
Yeah, most of our quizzes are like writing down dictation. You have to write down the answer or choose the answer after reading the options. So, okay.
There's a bit of a
Tom,
competition here.
Yeah,
okay.
a little bit of a
Can't lose, I
competition
can't
here.
lose.
Tom, as the senior, you got to do well.
I have to do well.
Okay. All right. So here are the rules for the quiz then. So we've prepared questions ranging from K-pop, K-literature, K-art, all kinds of K-culture. So when I ask a question, you have to shout your name first. Shout out your name. So that's like the buzzer.
The buzzer, right? Yeah.
And then give your answer. If your answer is wrong, then the turn goes to the other person.
Okay.
Very simple and easy,
It
right?
is, yeah.
All right, so let's warm up then.
Okay.
By the way, the winner gets to go home with a prize.
Ooh,
So a little bit of motivation right
yes.
there.
Now I need
If
to
there's
win.
something, then okay.
You got it. Okay. We'll reveal the prize later. But here's a little warm-up practice question, all right? So the question is, what is the full name of the DJ of Culture Crunch?
Tom.
Yeah.
최지희.
Oh, yay! Tom, you know my name.
She just told you. I know. I forgot. Sorry.
You forgot. That's why, like, when we had
Yeah, I
our
thought, like-
little small talk.
Oh my God. I have to remember all we said. I have to remember.
The
That
names
was a
are
little
hard.
hint.
Names can be difficult in
Names
Korea, I
can
must
be
say.
difficult.
Because most names are like 3 characters,
Exactly.
right? Yeah, sometimes memorizing names. I would say that as another advice, a piece of advice.
Remember names?
Even though I don't take it on board myself. Yeah, definitely.
No, but I'm so happy that you know my name.
Okay,
Tom.
yeah.
You've been with us for
I mean,
quite long now.
yeah,
you
since
know.
October, so I need to know. Yeah.
Okay, it's been 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so that's how you do it. You have to
Yes.
shout out your name and show us your answer or just shout out the answer, all
Okay.
right? So listeners, crunchers, do try solving these quizzes with us today throughout Crunch the K and see if you can win these 2 guys too. All right, so our first official question is an easy one.
Okay.
And as always, excuse me, we start with an easy one, and I'm sure it's easy. So let's take a look at the first
so.
question.
Okay.
All right, so let's say that Jihi, I went to a cafe and ordered So I'm like, please. What kind of drink does refer to?
Thibaut.
Yeah.
Ice Americano.
Correct.
it's
Okay,
fast
so you
with
have
it.
to be really
Yeah,
fast.
I gotta be
at-
fast.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
Okay.
I know there's a prize now, so I have to.
He's got a prize
Okay.
on that.
All right, so you got 1 point for that question. It was pretty easy. I'm sure you knew the answer too, right?
Just I need to be quicker, you know.
Okay, maybe you just let Thibaut get the answer.
Maybe.
All
You can
right,
do that
all
more
right.
often.
So here in Korea, aa is short for iced Americano. Like you said, it's literally for iced, like iced Americanos. It's a short sort of term that we use.
Yeah.
aa. So people order it just like aa 주세요. Oh, please give me aa, and they will all understand it. And it's funny how Koreans, they drink iced Americanos even in winter, some of them.
Right.
Yeah, so Tom and Thibault, do you guys drink iced coffee like this?
So I'm still not Korean enough yet to drink ice Americano in the winter. Like right now it's like -5, right? And I still see people like holding their ice Americanos outside. I'm kind of the opposite. I would have a warm drink in the winter and the summer. Yeah. So even in summer I would still have a latte or
yeah. You know what? I'm quite similar to you.
Oh really?
Because I don't drink iced Americano in winter because it's cold.
Because it's cold. It's freezing.
It's freezing.
So cold. Yeah.
What about you, Thibault?
When it's hot, I'm gonna have ice Americano. But when it's cold, I have like hot Americano.
Okay.
Yeah, I cannot drink something cold in winter. It's too cold for me.
Yes,
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. And Korean winter must be a little harsh for you too.
Yeah,
Right?
like I don't know. Well, I think maybe France and like Poland as well might have colder weather, but England, like it's not too cold. Even though it's snowing right now.
Oh, is it?
It's snowing right now in England, but it's. I wouldn't say it's like -5 or anything.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah, it was -5 last night.
Yeah.
Here.
-8 or crazy.
In Poland, it's pretty cold. Like now, it's like -12, I think.
Oh wow!
So it's I'm used to, but still I hate cold, so it doesn't change anything.
Yeah. We all hate the cold. I
hate
think.
the cold,
Yeah. I'm from Thailand too. I lived in Thailand, so I like warm weather. Anyhow, but Koreans still drink aa in winter. Not all of them, but many of them.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are you ready for the next question
Hey,
then?
I need to be quicker. I need to,
Be a little quicker with that buzzer, okay? Shouting out your name. So the second question is on Korean traditional culture. Now, which animal from Korean folklore was the real inspiration of this tiger character that appeared on K-pop Demon Hunters? Number 1, Kirin. Number 2, Hete. Number 3, Bonghwang. Who knows the answer?
Tom.
Okay.
I'm not too sure. Is it Bonghwang? 3? No.
So
wrong.
I can steal it now.
Yes.
Okay.
No, he's got it.
Something. No, I have no idea, but
You watched it though, right?
Yes, but he looks like a Kirin, like a tiger. Oh.
No. I knew it wasn't that one.
No, it's not Kirin.
No, but the turn goes to you now,
okay.
Tom.
Okay, so well, there's only one. Yeah, Hete 2.
Yes, correct.
There we go.
Oh my goodness.
I got lucky there.
Oh gosh, so you had to cross out the options to get this answer. But yes, this is a hete, and in fact, this is a statue of a hete that's sitting in Gyeongbokgung Palace, by the way.
Right.
I'm not sure if you've seen it, but just to give you an explanation of what this character is. So in K-pop Demon Hunters, and Thibault, you said you watched it.
Yes.
There's a popular character that looks just like a tiger, as you saw earlier, the blue tiger. But it's actually based on a Korean mythical creature called hete. That is hete.
Okay. I've seen it before, but I just didn't know what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you learn as you solve the quizzes,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Yeah. Always learning here.
Yeah, always learning. And hete resembles a lion with a single horn as well. There's a horn.
Is there a single horn? Somewhere?
Yes, there's a horn.
Probably behind it, right?
Yeah. And it symbolizes justice and is also the official symbol of Seoul as well, which is why we have a statue right in Gyeongbokgung Palace. And legends say it can distinguish good from evil and even prevent fires. So it's basically like a good luck charm.
Protecting the city.
Yeah. All right.
Nice.
So did you see this hete statue in Gyeongbokgung Palace? Do you recall?
I've seen this. I go there quite often.
Yeah.
Or around that area. And I always see it, but I never know what it is. So I'm glad now when I walk past it, I'll know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll see it quite often, you know.
Right.
I think I never paid attention, but now I will know what is it.
Okay. Now you'll know it's
Yes.
hete. Okay.
okay.
Hete. We even have like a brand called hete.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like Korean snack brand, like food brand.
That's good for my episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm giving you ideas for
Thank you.
your
I'm gonna
next
give you
meals.
incentives.
Incentives,
Yes.
please. Okay. All right. The current score is 1-1.
I got lucky there. I got lucky.
You got lucky, but I think luck is also a skill.
Maybe.
Okay. Well, the next question then is a K-pop category. So you have to listen to a song, a verse of a song, and the question's going to be related to that. Okay.
Ooh.
All right. So take a listen. Here we go.
처음 본 날 기억해 skip the small talk 바로 담당해야지 뭘 단점이라곤 없는 게 단점이라던 그 허세도 마냥 좋았어.
Okay, so that was a verse from a song. It's a song by Taeyeon called T2X. And there it says, you said your only flaw was having no flaws at all. And I even like that bit of 허세. Okay, so the question here is, what does 허세, the Korean 허세, mean in this context? Okay, it seems like you don't know, so I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
So 허세 is like an attitude,
Right.
and I'll act it out, okay?
Okay.
So I'm like, so easy. This is so easy.
Tio.
Yeah.
Is it French? Being sarcastic like that?
Oh, not sarcastic.
Tom, is it like attitude? Kind of like
Go on.
like a not snobby.
This is
I don't know the word in
easy.
English.
Oh gosh, easy peasy. How can you guys not get this? It's so easy.
I
You
don't
know
know.
what? Oh,
I've
Tom, do you need a tablet? I'll buy it for you. I've got lots of money. I can buy this for you for your
What would
birthday.
that be in English?
Is it presumptuous?
Yeah, like correct.
I
Wow.
think that's a word. I'm not sure.
Wow, I don't know English anymore. Wow.
Okay.
Can I take the point?
Wow.
You can get the
Pretentious.
point.
Ah,
Yeah, it's pretentious,
of course,
like
yeah.
bluffing,
So- yeah,
bravado.
yeah. Right.
Okay. So like when someone is acting big, even
Right.
though you don't really
okay.
have anything
Yeah.
within you, like even though you don't know the answer to something, you're like pretending that you
okay.
know. You're like bluffing, you
Right,
know.
right.
Yeah, that's hose. So it's like exaggerated actions, bravado, showing off,
Right.
that swagger, you
yeah,
know, without substance is
Hose.
hose. And we use it
hose.
quite a lot in Korean.
Yeah, I just didn't know how to say that in English.
Yeah.
Maybe
oh,
I
but
need
you
to.
knew the word.
I knew, yeah, but I've heard the word before. But I
Uh-huh.
I knew the kind of context, but I just didn't really know how to like translate that. I think I need to improve my English as well. Yeah.
Maybe you're like getting Korean and English mixed up
Maybe,
now.
maybe.
Living
We'll
here.
say that. We'll say that.
Okay. By the way, Benny is getting the answers for like many of these questions. The previous one, which was hete, he got it correct.
We need to
And this one,
swap
he
seats.
said bluff. Yeah, he got
Wow.
it correct.
We need to switch to get
Yeah,
Benny
you-
in here.
So
Take
someone
the
has
seat.
more points than us?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, he has more points than
okay.
you guys.
Well,
He's winning.
All right. Well, it's 2-1, 2 for Thibault. Tom, you can do this, okay?
I can do it. Yeah, I
Okay,
need to do it.
let's go over to the next question then. Here's question 4. So this one is a dictation challenge now, question 4. So while a song plays, you have to write your answers on the board.
Ooh,
okay,
okay,
Thibault,
okay.
your face
It's gonna
looks like
be
it's gonna be
magnificent.
challenging. All right, so next question, question 4. It's a K literature question. And it's a verse or a passage from the Headlight, from a work called Headlight, written by Kim Gi-tae. And it reads, he was the youngest of 4, an obedient boy. Neighbors gushed, your youngest is such a little gentleman, to which his parents would say, we don't get to baby him at all. So here's the question. What word in Korean is used to refer to the youngest child in a family? So the youngest child in a family in Korean is what you have to write.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll take a listen to a song while you think of the answer and write it on your boards. All right. So the current score is 1-2, 2 for Thibault. You still have a few questions left, so keep up good work, I guess.
Good work.
All right, a little bit of luck needed there as well.
Yes,
So
a lot.
while we listen to our song, please do guess the answer. And all the listeners, crunchers, do try guessing the answers and write them down on our live chat as well. So here is our next song. It's 어린 날 Youth by 서인국.
난 가끔 너를 생각해 너무 좋아서 눈물이 날 것만 같던 그냥 있어도 웃음이 나던 그때 우리 손에 꼭 쥐고서 간직했던 바래진 그 어린 날 동화 속 날들 같았어 넌 눈부셨고 노래 같던 목소리 너의 눈으로 보던 그 세상이 문득 생각나 그러다 그냥 걷곤 해 우리 거닐던 익숙한 동네 가게들 저기 앉아서 지질대던 너 생각나네 결국 그 끝을 다 알아버린 가엾은 우리 어린 날 동화 속 날들 같았어 넌 눈부셨고 노래 같던 목소리 너의 눈으로 보던 그 세상이 너무 그리워 넌 모르겠지만 난 아직 네가 필요해 난 너를 만나 처음 사랑을 알고 참 많이 달라졌어